Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday night Team Durban Tuesday webinar. So glad everybody joined us here tonight. I think you're going to love our topic tonight. I'm going to spend about the next 30 to 40 minutes to show you one of our favorite topics here. So let's get right into it. So tonight's topic is all about how we're going to go from full-time W-2 employee to a full-time entrepreneur. Spend about the next 30 to 40 minutes. And I am your host, Ray Durbin, tonight. And Karen is not with us tonight. She has another commitment, but she has helped put a lot of this together. So, from full time to W-2, this is our story where basically I started. So, when I was a full time W-2 employee, and this is how my story came about when I turned into full time entrepreneur. So the way it worked for me is I worked for a corporation for about 25 years, major Fortune 500 company. Um, Everybody knows the company when I mention the name, which I won't do, but it's a very large company in Cincinnati, Ohio. I worked there for over 25 years. I was super high achiever, super high performer. I really loved my work. I loved what I was doing. Um, but it wasn't, it just wasn't, what I wanted to be doing. I knew there was something else inside of me, and just didn't know what it was. But I got my first shock in October of 2016. Believe it or not, on my birthday, they actually laid me off for my first time. I had never been laid off before in my entire life, and sure enough, I got laid off October 13th, 2016. That was the first time in my entire career being laid off ever. I was age 45 then. I had a wife. I had two daughters that were just getting into a private high school. I had bills galore. Um, we had no plan for this. We were totally shocked. But it did make us start thinking about, hey, if this ever happens again, we need to start working on our own escape plan, how to get out of W-2, how to get into full-time entrepreneurship. I knew I was always an entrepreneur. I've done it probably since, I can remember. But, I was taught, go get a good job, go to school, get an education. I have an MBA. I went to several colleges. Like I said, I was a project manager, just doing tons and tons and tons of work, but I never slowed down long enough to think about what happens if I lose that job. So Karen and I started doing that in 2016. And then, of course, my second layoff came, and this was my final layoff. So May of 2020, right during COVID here, my company once again, went through layoffs, and I made it from 16 to 2020. But during that time, we were working our escape plan, the plan I'm going to show you guys here. We were putting in all the groundwork, doing everything we possibly could to get ready for me to go into full-time entrepreneur. So you can see here, July 5th, 2020, that's my Independence Day. It's just not the country's Independence Day. It's actually when my final W-2 job ended. It was July 5th, 2020. So July 5th every year, I celebrate Independence Day for the US country, and I also celebrate it for myself for being an independent full-time entrepreneur business owner. And that actually led into RV life. If you follow us online at hashtag Team Durban, or look for me on social media, Ray Durbin, Karen Durbin, you'll see we share a lot of our full-time adventures out there. We're probably going to do a webinar on RV life one of these times. But my business adventures also led me into RV life, and moving into an RV full-time in 2021. Part of that decision was really based on a business decision that I made to continue to grow my business. So July 5th of this year, 2025, this will be my 5-year independent anniversary. So that's my story. That's how I went from a W-2 to a full-time entrepreneur. I did have the escape plan ready the first time I was laid off. The second time I was laid off, we were ready, and I've never looked back. So these are kind of the things that I worked through as I became a full-time entrepreneur, and these are the things I want to share with you today. These 4 pillars, I call them. These are really, really important, and something you have to think about as you're moving from a full-time W-2 to a full-time entrepreneur. The first one is a mindset shift. Yes, believe it or not, it is a huge, huge mindset shift you have to go through, from going from a full-time W-2 employee to, your own boss. Huge mindset shift. Second one is a funding plan. You really have to have an initial funding plan. You got to know how you're gonna work those first, 2 to 5 years. What's your funding plan going to be while you're building your business? Business plan. What's your business plan? Are you working on a business plan? Do you have one? We'll talk a little bit about that. And then what's your exit strategy? How do you plan on exiting from your W-2 full-time job? And it just helps to have a plan on how to do that. So the first one I want to share with you here is kind of the mindset shifts that I'm going through. I went through, I'm still going through. I go through this every single day. I think it's one of the most important things of moving from, full-time W-2 to a full-time entrepreneur. You've really got to change your mindset pretty much about everything, because now you're becoming the CEO of not just your life, but of your own business, your own company. And really, there are no limits to what you can do, especially this day and age with all the technology that's available, with all of the help, the assistance, the online learning. It's amazing what you can do today as an entrepreneur. And businesses know that, right? The businesses know that employees have several options. In my opinion, that's part of the reason why they're trying to bring people back to office. I know there's other reasons around office and real estate and expenses. But they also know that employees have a lot of different choices. And when they're working from home, many employees are working more than just the job they're getting paid for from their boss. So most people, they stay stuck in that W-2 mindset for a very long time. It probably took me about 2 years to actually really get over that hurdle. You know, re reminding myself that I was no longer trading hours for dollars. That was a huge mindset. Reminding myself that, I have to motivate myself, not my boss. Reminding myself a lot of times I could be on my own. It's a huge mindset shift. And the second one is just realizing that you're not in this alone. There is a big support community out there around mindset, business owners. And that's really one of the first steps too, is to try to plug into a community that people are doing exactly what you're doing. And they're all over the internet. Like I said, there's meetups everywhere. You can meet people at local groups. It's really a great time to be an entrepreneur, in my opinion. Overcoming fear, scarcity, um, imposter syndrome, these are real when you're going through this transition. A lot of times you're going to be working by yourself. You may or may not have a team to work with. You may or may not have a support system initially. So this gets to be very difficult. And you really need to realize that fear is real and it's going to get in the way. Scarcity and imposter syndrome. It's okay. It's okay that we have fear, scarcity, and imposter syndrome. It's not really going to impact your business as long as you don't let it. And then, of course, we're going to retrain your mind. Just think about it. If you've never been an entrepreneur before, or never been full-time entrepreneur, meaning you're supporting yourself, your family, your livelihood, whatever, your money comes from your business, you're going to have to retrain how you work, because we were taught, at least I was taught from school age, on structures of how to become an employee, nothing about how to become an entrepreneur. So, today I'm not dependent on any boss or anybody. I'll never have HR calling me up again on my birthday, right? Telling me it's over, my career's over, and everything I know about the money that I was earning and supporting my family, that would never happen to me again. That was part of what I told myself. I'm able to exist on my own, and I'm building my own structures too. So I actually love it, because I'm learning this stuff as I go, that I need structure, and I'm doing that. I'm learning to rebuild my structure, my work structure, family structure, etc. You got to say, are you willing to do whatever it takes? And I am. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this successful. I am building my parachute on the way down. I jumped. I didn't have all the answers, just like most people won't, and I'm figuring it out as I go. And that's why it's important to have some initial funding and savings, so you have time to make those mistakes. I want you to think about, what is your why? Every time you get into some of these trouble areas, or scarcity mindset, or fear, you want to remember, what is your why? Why did you start doing this? Why are you running this business? Like, is it a passion? Every single day I write that down. What is my why? Because it changes as you change. So super important. You want to make sure you remember what your why is. And then finally, I just knew it was time to go, right? I knew it was time to make the jump. Like I said, when I got laid off the second time, there was no doubt about that I was done with W-2. The first time I was scared to death, and I ran back to my company and I got a new job pretty quickly. The second time, there was no question about it. I was ready to go, and I did. I've never been back since. Call that the exit plan. All right, so the second pillar here is about your funding plan. I call this your initial funding plan because you're going to have different funding plans as you go through your business. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure you know what that freedom number is. That's what I call it. What's the number you need to be successful every single month? This doesn't have to be your yearly salary or your wish stream. This just has to be your basic income that you need to continue to build your business month over month. And a lot of times it's not that big of a number. Side income, if you're doing any side income hustles right now, that's super, super important. If you can try to build those up before you do decide to invoke your exit plan, it's a great idea to start working on any side income, side jobs, whatever you can do to start creating cash flows. I want you to start thinking about cash flows, no longer salary or hourly wage. I want you to start thinking about cash flow. The next one, same thing, revenue streams, cash flows, same type of thing. Right now, in today's day and age, coaching is super, super popular. A lot of people need help. They need coaching. Major, major, major businesses have been using coaches for years. These top CEOs, they all have coaches. These top coaches, these top people in our society, they all have coaches. It's been a hidden secret for years. So don't feel bad if you need to get a coach. Coaches are great. Digital products like the one I'm showing you here, these are great. You can put together these quick webinars and you can share with people your knowledge, and you can build your own digital products. It's really, really simple. I built I think I put a Shopify together. That's what I do most of my digital projects. It took me probably, I didn't know anything about it. It took me less than, I will say, a month, right, to research the product, to figure out which Shopify I was going to use versus website, et cetera, et cetera. So it took me about a month, but within a month, I had 2 or 3 products that were up and running that I was able to charge and earn money from. And then, of course, affiliate marketing is great too. So Karen and I, we are affiliates for previously a company called Beachbody. It's how we do our fitness. Now it's called Body. We are really, really, really passionate about our fitness and health, and Body is key to that. So we decided to partner with them and become affiliates. So if there are products that you love, it can be makeup, can be anything really. And if you love the products, find out if they have an affiliate program. Why not be proof the products work and get paid for you using the products and then you helping marketing the products? It's a great, great system, and you do get paid for it. So figure out who you can be an affiliate for. There's a time too where you're going to have to start thinking, how do I transition right from these side hustles to a full-time business? And that's where your savings is going to come in. And I say get as much as you possibly can. Don't let it be one of these things that keeps you from doing your transition, but at the same time, don't underestimate it. I would take whatever you think your savings figure is and double it, because you're going to need that while you're building your business. You're going to make a lot of mistakes early on. You're going to make a ton of errors. You're going to be creating products. Some will work, some won't work. You might get paid, you might not get paid. So you need that savings. We call that your initial working capital. That's going to keep you in the game. And the more savings you have, or the more funding you have initially, the longer you're going to be able to stay in the game and create really, really, really good products. So it's kind of a race. You have savings in one hand, your products in the other. As your savings go down, right, you want those products to come up, right? So you don't want to run out of savings before you have profitable products. So you need as much savings as you can possibly get your hands on. Also, pay off as much debt as you possibly can. That's what Karen and I started when I first got laid off in 16. We had almost all of our debts paid off except our home mortgage. I'm not sure what else we had at the time, but we paid off almost everything we possibly could. We got really, really, really um, fanatical about paying off debt. So that way, when you take the entrepreneur leap, you don't want to have a ton of debts, because that obviously that's expense taken away from your savings, which is taken away from your products. So pay off as much debt as possible. Again, don't wait forever. It doesn't have to be one of these things that you say, I'm going to pay off everything in 10 years. You'll never get started. You have to get started as soon as you possibly can. If they offer any layoff packages, if you can get any kind of unemployment, whatever you can do to get initial funding as you're leaving your job, your W-2, take it. Take all the package you possibly can and put that as part of your initial funding plan. That's going to be part of your seed capital. That's going to get you moving. It's going to get you started. Let's see. Yeah, this is a good one here. So talk about your business while you're working for a W-2 or not. So this is something that I did not do because I knew my employer, once I was able to get, publicly on social talking about my business, I knew my employer would, cut my cord a lot quicker. A lot of businesses don't like that. So you need to take into account if you're going to advertise and be in business on social media while you're still working. Karen's employer didn't like that at all, and they really came after her once they figured out she had an escape plan. So you need to think about that. Are you going to be active with your business while you're employed or not? I do regret it a little bit because now it's taken me a lot longer to find those initial customers that I could have found before. But at the same time, I knew as soon as I opened up my business, my time would have been cut short. So it's a double-edged sword. I can talk about you more with this. If you guys have questions, I'll show you at the end how you can follow up with me. We have a couple follow-up things. Like again, do you start collecting clients? So for me, the answer was no. And I wish I would have at the time because I'll tell you what, it's taken me a long time to come up with new clients. So I had to start from scratch. And that's really where your business is going to start growing, right? New clients, new business, talking about marketing. You really need to do that. And then finally, if you have a spouse or partner in your house, you need to have a plan with them. Maybe one spouse or partner works their job still while the other one, on the entrepreneur, and then you flip, right? Once your business and products become productive, the other one gets to come out. So have a plan with your spouse or partner because it's going to impact your household income for sure. All right, so the next one is the business plan, right? So this is where we're going to start getting into a little bit of nitty gritty. I'm not going to go too far here, but we talked about mindset and initial funding. Now we're going to talk about your business plan. So you need to have some kind of rough draft, right? Of what the heck you're going to do. You just don't want to jump off of the ship and not know anything about what you want to do. You want to start drafting right now, today. Doesn't matter what else you've heard in my pitch here today, you should start thinking about your initial business model because that's super, super, super important. Do you want to sell services? Do you want to sell products? Do you want to be a hairdresser? You need to decide what business model works for you, and you just need to start writing that out right now. You can do that today. Doesn't matter about any of the other two things we talked about. Work on your mindset, but you definitely need to start working on your business model. Figure out which one works for you. All kinds of business models out there. Like I said, I think it's the best time to ever be an entrepreneur. There's so many things you can do to build your own business today with all the internet tools, all the work from home, work from anywhere. You can be a service business, you can be a digital business, you can be an affiliate, you can work on things like Upwork, you can be a consultant. There's really an unlimited uh, business model out there. You just need to figure out which one really works for you. And this is the key. You got to choose the one that fits your skills and your desired lifestyle. You don't want to go pick another job, right? Because the whole idea is you're going to love what you do because, like I said, it's going to get tough. It's probably going to get a lot more tough before it gets better. So if you love what you're doing, it's really not going to feel like work. We talked a little bit about income and revenue before, but you want to start thinking about what we call passive income, recurring revenue, scalable income. So where you can make products or you can make services where you don't have to be involved for your time. This is where the mindset shift comes in. We're not trading hours for services anymore. You want to start thinking about long term. What can I do to create space, create time with my products? So an example would be if you make a digital product, you stick it up on your store, you put a pricing on it, you do a webinar like this, and then you can put that on your shelf and you can start selling that. That way that product can sell itself. All you have to do is do the marketing. You don't have to do the pitch anymore. So start thinking about how you can leverage your time because you're going to really need to figure that out as you're moving into your business. I say start simple. Always start simple as you possibly can. This is where the benefit comes in, right? This is how you beat big companies. Big companies have a huge problem starting simple. They've got huge budgets, they've got thousands of people working for them. Everyone's kind of conflicting with each other, and it's very difficult for them to innovate. And this is where you're going to get an edge because you start simple, you innovate in your own, whatever, RV, your own house, your own desk. So start simple, start selling whatever you possibly can, do it today. Again, what's your passion? Make sure you're uh, finding something that you're super passionate about. Figure out what you love to do. Then you need to figure out how you're going to make money at it. So not very difficult to do, but not very easy to do either. So this is how you're going to figure out what business model works for you. Right. So our next slide then, I'm going to talk about the exit strategy. So this is how you're actually going to leave your company. So how are you going to do it? Are you going to let them do it for you like I did? I had no idea I would get laid off twice ever in my career. But the first time I got laid off, we actually liked that transition exit, if you will. I knew I would never leave what we call the golden handcuffs in my job, but my company helped me. But the idea was we spent a good several years to come up with what our exit plan was. They said the biggest thing we did is we really started tackling our debt and making sure we didn't create any new debt. And that helps a ton when you go to full-time entrepreneur. Deadlines are important. The human mind loves deadlines. So try to set a deadline of when you want to get out. So if today is, whatever, February of 25, maybe by February of 26, you want to be out of your job. So start working backwards from that date. Figure out what it's going to take for you to get out of that job. And you need to have a step-by-step transition plan. This is not something we wing. Karen and I talk all the time. When we travel, we wing it. This is not something you want to wing. You want to have a really solid plan, because when it goes crazy, you want to make sure that you have evidence to yourself that you did have a plan. You do have a plan, and you just need to keep working it. And that includes, like I said, your savings, your expenses, what are your current clients, what are your new clients, how is this going to impact your family, who are you supporting in your household. You need to have that all written down. Super important. And then the final step is to go talk to the boss, right? You have to go tell the boss when it's over. It's over. And then you can decide, are you going to burn the bridge or are you going to leave the bridge? That's really up to you. Some people burn the bridge and just tell them to, you know, give them the old friendly finger, if you will. And then other people, they just, they tell them cordially, this is what they want to do, and off they go. So you get to decide. Personally, I don't like to burn any bridges, especially when you're going down this entrepreneur path. You never know when you're going to need a connection or a relationship or networking or anything like that. So personally, I would say, don't burn bridges unless you absolutely have to, because you're going to need them probably at some point in the future. And then finally, this is how, like I said, I made the leap, is I had help from my employer. I was laid off at the age of 49. So I had 5 years left in my company, believe it or not, where I was eligible for early retirement, what they call it an early retirement package. And all I needed was 5 more years. I would have had pretty much easy street, but my employer got rid of me by then. They were really good at that. They knew when they could get rid of people. So that's what my employer did. So off I went, and here I am 5 years later, and I'm growing stronger every single day. So it was kind of a dip, right? When you have your job, I took a dip, right? Income and everything, right? Skill sets, learning, and all that. And now I'm coming back up out of that dip, right? So not only am I going to be surpassing where I was, because I'm almost back there, but I'm going to launch straight out of there. So think about the limitations you have now. You may take a dip initially when you take your exit, and that's okay. That's why we have your plan and your funding plan, because eventually you're going to rocket straight past all that stuff. You stick with it long enough. All right, so I know you won't be able to ask any live questions because this is being recorded, but that's what this is for. So all of you that are watching me on YouTube here, this is where you can ask any questions to me about the webinar here that you saw. So you can email me here at raydurbin50@gmail.com. Just put in the subject here, put more info on hashtag Team Durbin webinar W2 to entrepreneur. So if you email that to me, I will get back to you. Just send your questions to me. Like I said, since we're on YouTube now and it's a recording, you won't be able to ask live questions here in the webinar. But that's why you need to join our next webinar. We have a webinar every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and we talk about things like this, things that Karen and I, i.e. hashtag Team Durbin, things that we've gone through and we'd like to share with you guys. So email me with any questions you have. All right, so I do have some additional follow-up. So if you're wondering how the heck do I do all this stuff, I do have a couple programs that I can help you guys get started with this. And the first one is what I call the initial funding plan. We talked about that on the second slide there, about how you get your initial funding up and running, and how you're going to build that savings plan, uh, basically how you're going to build that parachute, little parachute, as you get ready to exit W-2. So I offer a 90-minute deep dive session. What you do is you bring all of your current plans, your current financial plans, and we would do a one-on-one review. We'll spend 90 minutes looking into your initial funding plan, and I'll make recommendations and let you know what I did. Let you know if I think it'll work or not work for you. I've been doing this for 5 years full time, and that's currently $99. And you can sign up really at any time out here on my website here. You see the link here at the bottom. It's happylife.com. So it's right here at the bottom. You can go out there, click on the link here, and you'll see we have several products out there, but choose the one that talks about leaving W-2 and doing your initial funding plan. So we offer that for $99. So feel free to sign up at any time. Like I said, if you have questions, previous slide, just take a look there. You can see where my email is. You can email me any questions on either the funding plan or just the pitch here itself. And then we also offer several additional packages too. So if you're interested in some of the other packages, so not only do we offer a funding plan for $99, we also offer a mindset shift. This is what Karen does. She very, very, very good at mindset. So same type of thing. We have a $99 mindset shift program. Again, it's a 90-minute session. All of them are 90-minute sessions for $99. We have a business plan session, and we also have an exit strategy session. So again, you can email me any questions you have on the previous slide if you want to take on any of these other plans. And we also offer all 4 of these plans for $297. So you basically do a $99 savings, or you buy 3, get the 4th one for free. So again, if you have any questions on any of this, just go to my website. It was on the previous slide. You guys can sign up at any time at here, happylife.com. My email is right here, raydurbin50@gmail.com. So send me an email if you have any questions. You can sign up here, and you can choose what package you guys are interested in, and we can help get you guys rolling and get you moving through your initial business plan. So that is my final slide. So this will be up on YouTube, our YouTube channel we will have started, and you'll be able to take advantage of any of these products, any of these offers, anytime you like. And again, I thank you so much for attending, and I wish you well. And if you do need some help getting started, give me an email, and let's get